got killed. But the famous hero playing around took his own act into his own life.
Yeah.
He played with people's heads not only on stage but off.
Mm-hmm.
And it cost him at the end.
Wow. Wow. That would be great. Except I don't think I'd want to get killed, though. You know what I mean? I don't think that part. I wouldn't like that part. But we could fake it.
Huh?
When I'm more famous, we could fake it.
Yeah.
We could do stuff like that.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah?
Of course.
Then wouldn't people hate me when it turns out I'm really alive?
No, because then every few months you die, right?
Oh,
and then you know what?
What?
And then, yeah, that's great. Every few months you die, right?
Yeah.
And then for a while, everybody says, he's just putting this on. And then all of a sudden you die, and I go on TV and I swear that this time it's true. It's no joke.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm leaving the business. You know, all these people never see me again. Yeah. That's it. For 1 year, nobody hears that. And before it was like you die, and then a week later you come back.
Mm-hmm.
This way, for 1 year, nobody hears anything. We have a gravestone and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come back again.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know how you come back?
Huh.
Just a stupid foreign man, like on the Dick Van Dyke Show or something.
Yeah.
The same thing. The original act.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Your original act, and you can even use a different name. But sound exactly the same.
What about with a mask?
Huh?
With a mask. Like a wrestler.
Yeah, with a mask, doing the same act.
Yeah.
People say, that's him. That's him.
As Shakespeare wrote in his comedy As You Like It, all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. The same could be applied to everyday life. And though you may not realize it, we are constantly playing a game, walking down the grocery store, picking up food, paying, all part of playing a game. When the cashier asks for the total, I know what the rules are here if I want to get the desired outcome. Pretty simple, actually. One step, just give them the appropriate amount of money. In this case, anything else would be seen as breaking these rules. Say I decide to instead reach into my pocket and stuff their open hand full of dirt. I've essentially lost. I mean, who knew? This is only heightened in the world of entertainment, as you not only go on to play a game, but then play a character of yourself as well. From there, a persona is forged from how someone may present themselves, whether it be a charismatic fast talker, or maybe a classic villain archetype, or even pure manipulation of what constitutes as entertainment as a whole, what an audience is willing to accept. Practices of deception that at one point went on to consume the life of late performance artist
Andy Kaufman.
Born on January 17, 1949 in New York City, Andrew Kaufman is part of that first generation to grow up on emerging media, along with the humble beginnings of both TV, late-night variety shows, and the like. Seeing these early developments of Media America's capitalization on presenting celebrity status surely went on to have an effect the way Kaufman would go on to display himself publicly. Early on, he'd witnessed the classic acts of good versus evil via professional wrestling, with an admiration for the one nature boy Buddy Rogers. There was a man people wanted to hate, an emotion Buddy Rogers explicitly encouraged and commanded, as a means to invert the paradigm of cultivated celebrity. A conscious display of manipulating one's public persona which must have struck Kaufman as revolutionary. Beginning by advertising himself as a children's entertainer, Kaufman would put out ads amongst his neighborhoods, showing the local kids various home movies of his or playing them something from his record collection. When not being booked, he still found himself an audience, that being his affinity with performing to the wall in his room, believing as if there were hidden cameras there broadcasting his every move. Once reaching college, it was clear that Kaufman had to become more aware of seriously considering his future and the role he might play in life. Coupled with a forge into transcendental meditation, Kaufman would go on to say that that was the final push that allowed him the ability to perform and mentally turn inside out, see outside reality as no more dangerous than had been his make-believe world as a child. Graduating with a degree in TV production, he began performing his first breakout stand-up routine called The Foreign Man.
The man from New York. And as he pushed him, he said something that it was very funny, but I don't remember what it was. But it was very funny.
A character which was meant to test the lines between reality and fiction. Kaufman would don a fake accent and present himself as the old American dream's rags to riches via entertainment story. When he speaks, his voice is high, his English broken, and his ability to hit a punchline non-existent.
No, wait until I give you the punch.
Following with a triad of failed impressions, he'd set out to subvert the expectations of what stand-up performance should be.
But right now, I would like to imitate Ed Sullivan. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight on the big stage, we have the really big show. So come to see the really big show.
Audiences would then be stunned as Kaufman finishes with an almost pitch-perfect like Elvis impersonation, another figure who cultivated his persona.
You can all just stare at me while I catch my breath.
He bows, resumes the original gag,
Thank you very much.
summarizing in his own words, "I like the kind of humor where nobody knows what's going on."
Let's watch Grandma Lily.
The character was later adapted for TV sitcom Taxi as Latka.
If we paid you by the mistake, you'd own this place by now.
Okay, it's a deal.
Though Kaufman is never seen referring to him with that name. This may stem from the belief that the character is no longer his, as it became destined to live within a limited setting, which was now outside of Kaufman's creative control. Despite these aggravations with the role, Kaufman decided to stick with it solely as a means to help elevate his celebrity status, something which allowed him to pursue the acts he was genuinely passionate about. Though he did try to manipulate the character by giving him multiple personality disorder, but even that fell a little short.
Hey, man, what is your problem?
In author Julie Height's book, Was This Man a Genius?, Kaufman tells her the reason he's in show business is to have fun, and wherever fun takes me, that's where I go. His main creative goals were quoted as getting the ABC special aired, playing Radio City Music Hall, and making more of his own shows. In this barrage of creative freedom that contributes to the character of Concept Kaufman as a whole, it further disperses his ability to draw audiences through a tirade of emotions by, as he claims, being himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, so far, everything I've done for you tonight, really I'm only fooling. This is really me. And right now, may I please have my clothes back?
Enter then his notorious breakaway figure, a physical separation from man and myth, Tony Clifton.
And nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The once simple gray-haired and black tux-wearing wise guy now morphed into a fully realized parody of the washed-up Vegas lounge singer. In antithesis to The Foreign Man, Clifton does not deconstruct the variety show performance, but rather critiques the comedic environment of Kaufman's time.
Let me tell you something. It was so cold there.
How cold was it?
Oh, we asked you. I didn't ask you. Can we start this again? I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you. Come on up here. Why don't you come up here? I didn't ask you a question. If I ask you a question, you answer. All right, for you too. You don't tell me. Anyway, it was very cold out back east.
Gone is The Foreign Man's unwitting innocence. Clifton is a collage of representational pastiches which embody what that era of comedy related to: cheapness and sleaziness.
You got a sense of humor. You got a sense of humor. You got a sense because it was all fun. Please forgive me, okay? My apologies. You want to see some humor? You want to see humor? Yeah, I'll show you humor. That's humor. That's humor. That's humor, pal. That's humor.
By sporadically switching role duties between his creative associate Bob Zamuda, Kaufman would be able to create a corporeal representation of character versus creator, though he would often constantly deny that they were the same person.
Tony gonna show up tonight?
Tony?
Clifton.
I don't...
Jeez. Well, that must be one of Tony's fans.
I assure you won't...
I would love to have him on my show. Can you arrange it?
I can't arrange it, but you can find out who his agent is and just go ahead and arrange
Where's he appearing right now, for example?
I have no idea. I don't hardly know him.
Sure.
All I've done is talk to him a few times, hello, goodbye, when he works with me, and that's it. I hardly know him.
How come you never blink?
I don't know.
In a way, he's genuinely telling the truth. It's clear that while Kaufman is the one playing Clifton, sometimes, at the same time, Kaufman is definitely not Clifton, which in the end proved to be a lucrative formula.
That's great, Tony. Let's give him a big hand. Tony.
Thank you very much.
This obsession over intentionally conceived celebrity failure would culminate in his most controversial act, as Andy Kaufman the wrestler.
It takes a certain mental energy to wrestle. It takes a certain way of thinking, a certain strategy. Women, I do not think, possess this. I just don't think they do. When it's a woman against a man, the woman does not possess it, the man does. Now, by the same token, there are times when women have more of this mental energy than men. For instance, in the kitchen, scrubbing the potatoes, washing the carrots.
I don't want $1,000. I want 1 week of him cooking and cleaning for me when I whip him.
Riding on his prior misogynistic success, he shifted into seeking pure outrage against his actions.
Now, let's start off. This is a bar of soap. Now, does it look familiar to any of you? I know that you probably don't know what this is. You haven't ever seen one of these before, but it is called soap. Matter of fact, if you're sitting at home now, you can maybe kind of repeat after me.
It's this character that would be his professional downfall, as its intended commentary on masochism generally just created a bunch of controversy, gave him a broken neck, and a few other things.
But you're a fucking asshole! A fucking asshole! You hear me? A fucking asshole!
Kaufman's tinging of performances began to plunge into abject obscurity. The final nail in the proverbial coffin being when the fate of his residency with SNL, the show which originally provided him with national recognition, was left to the hands of the public. In 1982, results were tallied to show a substantial desire to see him banned from the show, and shortly after, Taxi was cancelled. Perhaps an inability to present a genuine representation of himself, Kaufman turned his spiral into yet another representation of the washed-up celebrity. Coming on David Letterman, the only show left that would book him, he appeared disheveled, pale, exhausted, and speaking in an unheard-of and wavering monotone.
I'd rather, if you don't laugh, because I'm not trying to be funny right now. If anybody could, I know this sounds like a cliche, but if you could, any extra money that you have, I would appreciate it.
When he was diagnosed with cancer in 1983, he was met with staunch skepticism, even from close friends and family who thought this was another elaborate ruse. Andy Kaufman later died in Los Angeles on May 16, 1984, at the age of 35. During a taping of Late Night in 1982, Kaufman tells David Letterman,
I always believe in being honest. I always believe in telling the truth.
Kaufman's varied and sometimes contradicting identities rendered the veracity of this statement undecidable. His apparent belief and indication of motivation in regard to his public actions cannot be received without a lingering, suspecting doubt. In Hike's book, Kaufman would often say he rejected the comedian title. If someone really wanted to flatter me and be complimentary, they would call me an absurdist or a surrealist. Throughout the book, he goes on to refer to 8½, as being his favorite foreign movie. In reference to Kaufman's personal connections with the film, I see him and Guido as a kindred pair, both being haunted by a demon, the unrelenting avoidance of reality. And while Guido escapes this through disorienting fantasy sequences, Kaufman dives headfirst into a sea of characters to drown in assumed creation. Though this is an essential aspect how Kaufman perceived his participation in life as well. I mean, if it's all just a game, then why not have a little fun? Andy's mother confided in Hike that growing up her son was an often unhappy or angry person, and only overcame his supposed shyness through activating these multiple personas. Discussing his career, she then notes, "The best part is that he's happy. When I used to drive him to the psychiatrist when he was 12, 13, I'd say, 'What you do in life has to be what you love. Wake up every day and say, I can't wait to get to work.' And now he has that. It's a dream come true." Decades later, Kaufman remains a figure completely separated from creating a true, authentic representation of himself, while also being unapologetically genuine. We may not actually know who Andy Kaufman was outside of these barring personas, or maybe we do. Either way, it seems as though those close to him believed he was genuinely happy and having fun. And wherever fun takes him, that's where he goes.
We're recording?
No, not yet. Was that all right with you?
Oh, yeah. So are we recording now? You go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to if it works.
Because you know what? I'm recording you, too.
Oh, good.
Yes, you want to hear? Yes? Yeah. I mean, it's hard to explain. Like, for instance, if people buy a record called Andy and His Grandmother, they think, oh, wow, Andy Kaufman made a record with his grandmother. This must be hilarious. And they show a picture of me and my grandmother on the cover. And like draw in little, people going, laughing at the, and then they put it on and it's like just a regular conversation, everyday sound. And people are going to say, what? What is this? Well, I like to do that to people, I like to, it's like, it would be like a big practical joke.
Yeah.